It's day 4 of game development.
Let's get to work. And I was pretty excited. Unlike day 2 and 3, we had a solid foundation of a game. On day 1, we created our files from scratch using Notepad. On day 2, we built an island with a basic building. On day 3, we added some atmospheric elements such as fog, lighting, as well as a beautiful little NPC, as you see here. It was now time to start day 4's game development. I knew I wanted to increase the size of the island, but I wasn't sure how. So I went online to look for some inspiration from some of the greatest minds on the planet. And boy, did I fall down the rabbit hole. After watching a few videos, I finally stumbled across something familiar. Perlin Noise. We used this in one of our earlier episodes. I'll throw those episodes down in the description if you guys missed them. It was a type of gradient noise developed by Ken Perlin in 1983. It's a grayscale overlay image, and we're going to use it to generate a world. Let me show you how. Within this image, there's points of higher contrast and lower points of contrast. The high points of contrast can be your mountain ranges, and the low points can be your lower points in the world. Feeding this into an algorithm, it can create a realistic looking environment. By using these noise images, the shapes look much more organic and natural. Take Terraria's world generation, for example. If we were to pick random points of height to generate the world, it wouldn't be very smooth and it would feel hard to move around in. By adding a one-dimensional Perlin noise graph to the equation, Terraria can smooth out its world to give it an organic and a very cool feel. It was time to get to work as I had a basic understanding of Perlin noise. However, this sparked an idea. I knew through AI we could generate images. What if I could utilize those images within the game to give the player a unique experience every time? I began experimenting with spells. Now this was no easy task, as I had to create a Python program to run in the backend to help support my game, and as this uses something called stable diffusion. I knew in order to get this working, I would need to have my game running on a localized server, so I began working on that. Once I had the localized server up and running, I actually had a user interface which allowed the player to click a button and it would generate a spell in the backend. The cool thing is the player wouldn't see this happen. What really happened was it would generate a prompt and give it to my Stable Diffusion program, which would then output an image into a localized folder. So as you can see, it stored it within the spells folder, inside of my game folder. So if I browse into my game file here, you'll see the images that I've generated, as I've generated 2 already. This is the second. The user doesn't see any of this, however. They just see the user interface, the generate spell button, the bar fill up, and then they can cast the spell themselves to see it on the screen. Now this was cool and everything, but my game didn't have spells as of yet. What it did have was a world, and I was trying to procedurally generate another biome within that world using a Perlin noise overlay. I thought, why not generate one? And if not one, why not generate multiple versions to give my world a very unique looking feel? Each biome would be geographically different, not only by scaling the image up and down, but by creating an entirely new image. The changes could be dramatic. So I took our spells application, I modified it, and I made it generate a 2-dimensional world. As you can see, the pawns look pretty natural and organic. This is what we're looking for with the gradient changes. I read online that Perlin's theory actually works in all dimensions. This means we're not just limited to a 2-dimensional plane, we can actually do this to generate a 3-dimensional world. Now, I've never generated a 3-dimensional world, and I was feeling ambitious at this point, so we went for it, and this is how it turned out. This was my first world. I added some basic procedures for it to follow, adding snow to the tops of high peaks and dirt to the bottom of low depths. But I wanted to add something a little more dramatic, so I implemented a river. Similar to the way that I added the snow and the dirt, I simply added a procedure to implement the water below a specific depth. This was cool, but I wanted to add even more modifications to this world. I wanted another biome, and I used our method to implement it. Using the river as a divider, I first changed the coloring within this region to notice a distinct difference. I then added another noise filter, a brand new image generated to give this landscape its own unique feel, to make it look more like a desert. We had a 3-dimensional world, guys. This is pretty awesome stuff. I know we're just scratching the surface, and before I dig any deeper, I need your help. Down in the comments, can you please let me know if we should continue pursuing our three-dimensional dreams, or should we resort back to our two-dimensional goal of our original plan with pixel graphics? Most comments will win in this decision, as I want this to be a community project. I want you guys involved, so please let me know down below which option you prefer in our world design, and we'll go that direction. You guys have a lovely day. Poobearski.